Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm Pallavi Sharma, your host of your AI CMO, and I am so excited to have Jenny Kay Pollock with me here today. I attended an event that Jenny, along with her colleagues, had put together, which was a organization at that time known as Women in AI. And I saw these amazing women entrepreneurs doing incredible things, and that just made me feel invigorated. I feel like AI is the great equalizer, and I think Jenny feels the same way. It's going to give women and underrepresented groups a lot more opportunity to actually take their business ideas to market. So I'm so excited to have her on today to talk about her journey. So Jenny, welcome. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Pallavi, thank you so much for having me on. I am a champion for inclusivity in tech and currently serve as the co-CEO and co-founder of Women XAI, where we focus on giving underrepresented voices a platform. We focus on opening networks and accelerating their success. And that's the real joy about what AI can do. And I think that's what you were saying. I also serve as a startup advisor and a fractional chief marketing officer for early stage startups, typically female founded, values aligned, and oftentimes B2C and always software. I did hardware once, and let me tell you, that is so hard unless you have a lot of capital. So I stick on the software side of things and really focus on how can you maximize revenue through different strategies and AI integrations.
I think we're both finding is because AI just compresses the marketing department. And so companies can work directly with people like the two of us who have this expertise and background of traditional marketing along with AI, but then we can kind of help you supercharge things. And I see women supporting women as really the future. And I've been in the executive roles where that's not always the case. And I don't get it. So when I met you and your organization, my bucket was filled. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. How did you get to where you are today? And give our listeners some advice. Like, what is the key piece of advice or a gem that you learned along your journey?
Yeah. So, how did I get where I am? I was just out of college in this awfully boring sales job, smack dab in the middle of Wisconsin, like in the middle by nothing. I was driving to see my customers and driving around these cornfields all day, a lot of windshield time. I would be alone in my car listening to audiobooks and podcasts and just consuming all of this content. And I was gravitating towards the tech content. And there was one book that really stuck out. It's called The Y Combinator Launchpad, and it goes through and looks at all of the companies from the early days of YC and how they got started and what they did, thinking like the trajectory of Airbnb and how that got started and to where it is today. Until one day, I had to be part of it. So I quit my job. I watched the cornfields get smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror and set my sights on Silicon Valley. And because of that, I've spent the last decade here building high tech products, many times being the only woman in the room. That's why I decided to take action and to start Women XAI and to do my own consulting where I could be the one calling the shots and really be able to kind of build my own thing where I'm in control of it. It's been a lot of fun. And to me, the advice from that is take the leap. If there's something you have the energy for and the excitement for that you're interested in, do it. Even if it might seem scary, even if it might seem different, try it out. If it doesn't work, you can always go back.
I think people sometimes feel that if they take a little bit of a detour, it's going to be impossible to go back. Yes, look, I'm the most pragmatic, one of the most pragmatic people you'll meet. And so going and doing some entrepreneurial venture out of the blue, it may not be for everyone. You do have to look at your finances, make sure you have reasonable runway, understand that it's going to come with a lot of discomfort and uncertainty, but be prudent about it, right? Like know what your success metrics are. And if you're not seeing activity, then listen to that. You may need to change your business model or change your approach. It isn't just about blindly going into the wind. There's a lot that goes with it. And I think that's why I really value the people that I've met through the Women XAI community because they're great sounding boards, right? To help you understand, are you in the right direction and could you be shifting a little bit? So surround yourself with people that have your best interest at heart or are doing something similar so you can share notes. And that's why I think that community is so wonderful. And anytime, Jenny, when people talk to me, I'm like this walking infomercial for what you do. So that's not going to change anytime soon. All
Well,
right.
thanks, Pallavi.
So now I like to call this the AI CMO 9. I'm going to ask you 9 kind of action oriented questions and would love for you to share your learnings with our listeners. So are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to ask you 9 action oriented questions that I call the AI CMO 9. So are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And I have one secret that each question actually has 2. So, don't pay too much attention to the details. So, number 1, what's one myth about AI and brand growth that you want to bust? And what's one practical mindset shift you recommend instead?
Yeah, so this is a great question. One of the things I see is a lot of brand growth people know AI can be helpful, but they feel that they have to be technical to take advantage of it. So the myth I want to bust here today is that AI is not only for technical people, it's for everyone. And whether or not you know it, you're probably already using it. Since AI is for everyone, I invite you to shift your mindset and to act like AI can be for you. Go explore, go play with it. We actually recently did a Mythbusters blog for Women X AI, so hopefully we can include that in the show notes. But it's pretty fun. It's some myths about AI from our community.
Excellent. I love that. Yeah, I think people are not realizing there's more AI already in play that they might be using. And the most beautiful thing to me about this is that it isn't for techies only. I was at an AI Leaders Club event the other day, and one of the key takeaways is the future coding language of AI is English. Like as long as you know English, you can build it. So, and we're seeing it.
Absolutely. And we're seeing that with some of the vibe coding tools out there already.
Yes, yes. And for those of our listeners who don't know, what is vibe coding?
Oh, good question. So it's when you're able to go in with an actual English prompt and say, hey, can you build me an app? Can you build me a quiz? Can you build me a game? And the AI tool will do that. Now, granted, is it going to be the best, most perfect code that's ever been written? Absolutely not. Can you mock up a great prototype? Totally. Does it unlock things that I can't normally build because I'm not an engineer? Yes.
Absolutely. And Jenny, I'm glad you brought up prototyping because I use a lot of AI for prototyping. Some of these tools, such as Gamma.app, I recently did a webinar with their head of marketing. I love using Gamma for prototyping, and the results that I've had with clients when I can, for example, we're discussing a website rebuild and it's not and we need to stay within their system, I'll take the messaging, throw it into Gamma, show them kind of what the information would look like. There's usually this, oh my gosh, that's great. That's so much better. And so use a lot of this stuff for prototyping and understand that a lot of AI, it's not 100%. Like think of it as like 70 to 90% there, but that it'll get you to 70, 90% so fast, and then you can tweak. So if you sit back and wait for perfection, that's not the way you use AI. So just be prepared.
Absolutely. It's that collaboration, right?
Exactly. All right. So on to number 2. Tell us what you're building right now and why you think it matters in this particular moment. And also, what's one early move that helped you get traction that others could try?
Yeah, so for me right now, I'm building out Luminizing Growth, which is the umbrella for all of my fractional chief marketing officer work and advisory work that I do. Helping founders is something that I'm so passionate about because it's never been easier before to start a tech company. And when we're investing in people who maybe couldn't have accessed that before, getting more women on cap tables, getting more women founders, getting more women creating products that wouldn't have been made, like that's what I'm really excited about. And going back, kind of looking at this first wave of democratizing the ability to start a tech company, it was at first the internet, right? That made access really available. And then distributed cloud computing came, and you could be anywhere. And now we're seeing AI come and make it more accessible than ever. Whether you're trying to build a brand new company or level up one you already have, it's really giving more people power. And I see people using it to take actions on their behalf. I see people automating these workflows that would have taken a lot of time and a lot of manual work. And ultimately, it costs less capital to do a startup these days. And I'm excited about helping these founders do that.
Excellent.
Yeah, to go back to the advice piece, I wanted to actually give you one that does not work that I see all the time. Everyone says, all the founders, I want to go viral. And there's all of this discussion about how can I go viral? What can we do? And going viral by definition isn't something you can replicate because what went viral yesterday won't go viral tomorrow. And you get convention, it won't convert. You're going to
Right.
get all of this attention, all of this interest, and it's not going to actually convert. They're not going to be high value users, and you're not going to find the success that you're looking for in actually growing your company.
Yeah.
On the flip side, one that does work is you should be building your go to market, your plan, your strategy, and the email list that you're going to use as you're building the product. I see this a lot where really talented founders will be heads down building this amazing product. And then they're ready to launch and they haven't cultivated a community, a group, a list, and it really sets them up at a disadvantage. So as you build your product, build your email list.
Yes.
Start now. You will thank me later, I promise.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't emphasize this point enough because I'm seeing it also is a lot of the capital is spent on product, and then the runway gets shorter, and they get out there and the product has way too many bells and whistles and features than it really needs to have. And then suddenly there's no time for growth. And then I'm seeing founders just do a lot of tactics like, let's just try this, let's try that. And marketing doesn't work like that. It is long haul. It is not overnight. It is not viral. That concept is really meaningless. And so it's slow and steady and consistent. And a lot of people don't understand that because for some reason marketing remains this really kind of unknown area where I think here's my read of it. People can send an email, people can do a Facebook post, and therefore they think they can do marketing just because they can do those simple aspects. And that's not how it is. So if you're a founder and you're listening, make sure the marketing and sales, you have a healthy allocation put towards that. Don't just keep putting it into more features. That's not going to, you could do that all day long, but if customers don't know you exist, it won't matter. So
no one's going to use those features if they don't know about you.
yeah.
And that goes to building in public. I think a lot of times we talk about this ethos, how you should build in public, but it's often maybe an afterthought or not done. And so as you're building, you should be working with your users, with your community, and actually getting their feedback. You shouldn't just be making features up that you think are cool. You can start there, but why don't you check with your community before you spend that expensive dev time on it?
Exactly. And that's the other key point is build for your customer, not yourself. And what your customers may have to say may surprise you, and you need to keep evolving that customer group because you may start out with this kind of narrow focus, and as you grow, you realize those 5 customers that I thought knew everything, that's not really where the money is. It's over here. So yeah, it is a pretty strategic process that you have to be intentional about. It's not like go back and build something for fun. It's not a science project. It's a business. All right.
So true.
And real quick, I think at this point, people do know what agents are for the most part, but if they don't, I'm happy to define it. You want to take a swing at it, explain agents?
Sure. Well, AI agents, they can seem complicated because they are. It's really handing over a series of tasks to an AI and letting the AI make the decisions with that and actually execute and do that. What would you add?
Yeah, I mean, an agent to me, and I'm glad you say that it's complicated because it kind of is. It isn't like plugging in ChatGPT and going along. You do have to integrate, you have to decide your workflow. And basically, an agent is something that's going to, do actions and make decisions, those two things. And so if you have an agent, for example, that is, I want to have a meeting, get the meeting notes, turn it into a follow-up actionable email, and then also send a Slack message. Like that would be a workflow, and an agent would go in there and then not only make the workflow happen, but ideally decide, well, who should I send the Slack message to? So there's still a lot of work to be done, I think, before we really get agents to the decision-making
Mhm.
stage. where it's more widespread, but that's ultimately what it's going to do. And when that happens in an easy way, it's going to be like the kind of big holy grail moment, honestly.
Yeah, one of the best companies I've seen doing this out there is Wayfound. The founder's name is Tatiana Mahmout, and she is amazing. And what she's doing is making it accessible for everyone to add in AI agents to their workflows. And it's really cool because when the AI does a good job, it gets a score of a green and it gets to just go. When it's hello, you have to review it. And then when it ends up getting a red score, one of the AI agents that oversees the other AI agents will review it and try and fix it before it gets to you. So the stuff that isn't actually doing what you want is getting reviewed by other AI agents. And
Yeah.
then when they get it close enough to write, you get to review it. And it's really interesting to me when you look at these workflows that we're going to be able to hand over,
Yeah.
whether that's now or soon, but it's going to make an impact. And it's not just marketing that it's going to impact, it's going to impact a lot of different industries.
Yeah, absolutely. The more mainstream tools that people may have heard of, there's Zapier, which has been around for some time, that connects the workflows. They're getting into it. Make.com is another one I think a lot of people use. There's N8N, which is either pronounced Nation or N8N. I've heard both things. You go to Lovable to make some workflows and products. So there's a lot of cool tools to experiment with. And again, women founder, what could be better? All right, so number 3, how are early stage B2C brands using AI to grow smarter today? And can you share a specific tactic you've seen work consistently?
Yeah, so one of the tactics that I'm seeing is founder led brands. And that means that there's more trust. The founders should be building their personal brand alongside the company brand and using it to cross promote. Now, where does the AI come in? That's up to you. But you can have AI help you with your content, right? Like you can have a custom GPT set up to help the founder do their content. And one of the things that I think about a lot is that people join people. And so that's why this founder led brand works because you're actually getting to know the person behind the company. There's a couple founders that do a really good job of this. Jazz Shambari over at Luna. She was in top 5 of TechCrunch Disrupt 200 last year. And she's over in the UK helping make it more accessible for teens to get access and ask questions to, healthcare providers instead of just asking TikTok. So looking at how she's doing this founder led branding, she's like the go to person that I tell everyone to look at for someone who's doing it right.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, that's the founder-led branding. I think seeing, what I mentioned Gamma, so Grantley, their
Mhm.
CEO is doing something similar. Fathom dot video, which I love for using note taking. Their CEO is also constantly on LinkedIn talking about his learnings. And I'm telling the clients that I'm working with, how important that is, because in this age where there is so much AI generated content, you don't know if it is real or not. It's important to get out there, right? If you're an executive at a company, especially a startup founder, and say, I'm a real person, here's my story, connect with me. Because that's what I think audiences of today really want is to build that brand trust directly. All right.
Absolutely.
So we're on to number 4. So you work with values-led startups. How do they balance purpose and performance in their marketing? And, again, please give me an example of either a campaign or a message that nailed that balance. Because as we talked, purpose is so important, but it is a business at the end of the day. So how do you combine those things?
I think they go together. When you actually have purpose and alignment and you're working towards that, it will drive the performance that you're looking for. So, one of the women that I work with, one of the female founders, Deep D, she has a company that she started called Little Lit AI, and they're helping teach kids K through 12 how to use AI in a fun way. They're using play to help them understand some of these concepts and really help with AI literacy. And so they had AI Literacy Day a while back, and Deepti got involved and she got her community engaged. She activated about 20 highly committed community members to post about it, to post about AI education and the importance of AI literacy, all on the same day, all using branded assets from Little Lit with their logo in the bottom and, their look and feel on the marketing. And The best thing was that all of these 20 people were engaged, excited, sharing with their networks, and that means that they're more committed than they were before to the mission of helping make sure that there's a way for kids to learn AI. And the cost of this campaign was $0. It was just her time setting it up and activating the group that she's been cultivating.
Nice. I love that. $0. You can't get any better. And there you go. I think when you have a purpose with your brand that and you're passionate about it, it shows. Increasingly, people are looking for that passion no matter what size of business you're leading. And so this concept of you're like this anonymous corporate executive just doing your job in the back and behind the scenes, it's just, I don't know. I just don't think it's going to resonate these days as well as the people that are willing to be out there and be authentic. And so those people who aren't comfortable need to find ways to get comfortable because that's the reality of tomorrow. And that's why I go back to it's important to find your people, right? And so, for me, it was through the groups that we interact with. For somebody else, it might look different, but they are out there. And that's the beauty of it, is that it's become so easy to meet with people. And I encourage people to go out in person and meet directly. I had a CEO at a company I used to work with called AdStage, and he gave me this great advice. His name is Sahil Jain, and he's just launching another company right now. And he gave me the advice, increase your surface area, is what he had told me. And he said, go out and try to meet as many people, ideally in person, as you can. And I did. And that, again, led me to you, led me to this journey. And I'm kind of an introvert. I'm a social introvert. I don't love putting myself out there, but I did. It's the payback on that was amazing.
Absolutely. And if you can't, create your own. I mean, that's what we did with Women X AI. We saw something that we wished existed and it wasn't quite there, so we made it. Obviously, it's easier if you don't have to make your own,
Yes,
but if you have to, that's okay too.
it's a possibility. All right, well, I'm just going to pause here for a word from our sponsor, and we will be right back. If they'll come was your marketing strategy and they didn't, Wit Omni fixes that. Go to witomni.com and schedule a free consult today. That's wit as in quick, because slow growth isn't an option. All right, welcome back. So now on to 5. So you have helped 72 women take the mic in AI this year. What did that teach you about building community at scale? And what's one thing a founder could do today to start building their own brand community?
Such a good question, Pallavi. So when the community was small, like 200, 300, I knew everyone and I could connect them. I knew who was looking for a job, what they were looking for a job, and who wanted a board seat, who was looking for consulting clients, and I could match make, right? And then it grew and there's more people and there's more opportunities. We're over 10x that. And my co-founder Rayut and I, we can't do that manually anymore. And so we do that at a few different ways. We lead by example. We still do that when we can. And we use different tools to help kind of deputize community members to do that or to lead that conversation. And one of them is we have a Women X AI Social Saturday every Saturday on LinkedIn, just in the comments of a post. And we have a community member host that. And they're able to ask one personal question and 2 AI questions. And people from all over the globe come and have a conversation about AI. But we're allowing it to become something bigger than just us two. Because at first we started and I was hosting, Rayut and I were hosting every weekend. And
Yeah.
that's fun, but it's not going to get the impact that you want. We're creating that stage and creating that spotlight and inviting people to step into it. The other thing that we tried is actually really cool. There's a startup by one of our community members, Meg McWilliams, and it's called Gossip Goblin. It's this AI-powered networking matchmaker. The AI is named Gabi, and she is the chief goblin officer of the company, of course, and will match people. So that was really cool. We used that at one of our recent events, and it was really fun to see people get personalized introductions like I would normally do at scale. It was great.
Amazing. Gossip Goblin. We'll definitely have to check that one out. And yeah, I mean, I am a frequent visitor of Social Saturday, so I highly recommend You head over to Women X AI on Saturday. They do this really cool thing where there'll be these fun questions, and there'll always be an AI related question, but it could even include a question like, what mug are you having your favorite beverage in? Send a pic. This is a really wonderful way to be actively social during a period of time on Saturday. And then what you do is you do at least two major things. Is you learn from what the other people are posting, because as much as the questions are fun, there's also actual questions that can help you out in terms of discovering new tools or methodologies. You can connect with the people that are posting because there are other AI operators and enthusiasts.
And one of the things that we find important is measuring our success by how many microphones we've handed to other women in the community.
I love it. Incredible. All right. So, number 6, where do most founders get stuck with brand or GTM strategy in the AI space? And what's a tool or framework you use to help them get unstuck?
Let's just have AI do the strategy. I hear that all the time. And yes, it is a tool. And yes, you should use it to help with the strategy, but it's not there yet. You can't just hand the whole thing over and call it good. AI is only as good as the data that you give it. So especially when you're early in your startup journey and you haven't launched a lot of things, you don't have past go-to-market plans to feed into it, that's not necessarily the answer for the whole thing. It's really a good starting point for your go-to-market, but it's not a silver bullet. You should really be iterating and co-creating in partnership with AI. And you should go back and forth and you should ask questions, do a deep research on, one of the models, Perplexity or ChatGPT. Have it go look at a ton of sources. How did they launch? How did companies similar to yours actually do their go-to-market? Have it synthesize that information and use that to help you understand what you want to do. At the end of the day, I don't think AI is ready to do the whole thing for us. You're always going to have nuance and things that you want as a founder in there. And so work with the AI to come up with the strategy. So don't just hand it over. You do need to think about what you want out of it and question the output and help tie things back together. Because if you just say, hey, spit out a go-to-market plan, you're going to get a generic one and it's not going to do what you need.
I absolutely love that answer. Use your critical thinking, because I think if people understood that the best tool you could use when using AI is your own critical thinking, then it is sky's the limit. It's when you feel like it should do everything and you turn your brain off, and when it doesn't give you what you want, you poo-poo it. That's the downfall. So that is just a brilliant answer. So yeah, for all the people that are saying that AI is going to make you lazy and not think, I just argue the absolute opposite. I'm like, no, if anything, it's made me think so much more, because it almost kind of unlocks your ability to create. So, so I think it's a very different thing to actually work with AI than some people think.
Yeah, I think a lot about how it's like a calculator. I don't know if you remember back in the day, back in school, they would say, hey, no calculators in class, or you can or you can't. But at the end of the day, it's a tool. It can help you do what you're doing. Sometimes it's appropriate to use your calculator. Maybe sometimes it's not. And that's the same thing with AI, right? Sometimes we should be using it, sometimes maybe not. And when you're using it, you still have to know what's going on, or you're going to not understand how things happened. So it's a tool that we can use.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So number 7, can you share a real world example of a B2C startup using AI in a creative or effective way? And what's a takeaway from their approach that others can apply?
So I want to go back to Gossip Goblin. The interesting thing about them is that they're meeting users where they're at. So basically you sign up for an event, it gets your phone number, and it'll send you a text and say, hey, do you want to get your matches made? Say yes, and then you can either do a text, like back and forth, or a voice call. And once you do that, it gets an understanding of who you are, what you want out of the event, why you're going, who you want to meet, what your business is, and then it makes the connections for you over email, because you don't need a new app all the time for everything. I think for a little bit there, everyone was making an app for this, an app for that. You have a million apps on your phone, and they're using AI to help connect people, which I think is cool, like this technology, and we're using it to help foster real world in-person connections. And you're meeting the people where they're at. And so we used this for our last event. It was insights from AI product builders. We had this panel up in San Francisco. It was great. And I asked who used, because you didn't have to use Gossip Goblin to come. That wasn't a requirement. I said,
Yeah.
hey, raise your hand if you used it, because I was curious.
Yeah.
And over 80% of the audience hands went up. And
Wow.
to me, yeah, that was higher than I expected. I think people are hungry for connection.
Yeah.
And so my takeaway for this is that meet your users where they're at. Maybe it isn't a big fancy app. Maybe it is a simple, easy, accessible text message.
Yeah. I agree with you. This is really out of the box thinking because right now everybody just rushes to do the same thing, right? Oh, must create basically an app. And sometimes that's not necessarily the solution you need and it's going to look a little differently and it's almost like the app space has gotten quite noisy. So maybe if your approach is different, it may actually end up standing out. So I love that. All right. So number 8, looking years ahead, what's your vision for kind of an inclusive AI powered brand growth? And what's one step founders can take now to move in that direction?
Yeah, so I believe that founder-led brands will continue to win. Likely even more so in this age of AI, where anyone can spin up a post really quick. You can have a GPT spit something out and put it online. There's that authenticness that we crave. And like we've been talking about this whole time, people join people. And you're here probably today tuning in because you know me or Pallavi. You're probably listening to this because you have an interest, a shared interest with us in AI and marketing. And as you continue to build brands and build companies, the founders that are doing that in public transparently, even if they're using AI, because you absolutely can and should use AI to help, those are the brands that are going to win. And if you're not sure where to get started, we do have a ton of tools. We just launched our over 30 battle tested AI tools from our AI Titans Tool Council that I'd love for you to check out. We'll include that in the show notes. But pick one of those, give them a try, and help you be more authentic on social, be more authentic in your posts and communication. And if you haven't got started yet, have it help you do that.
Yeah, perfect. And these tools, the other thing I like to caution people is that we're still in the infancy with Gen AI. And so some of these tools may not be, again, perfect, but you may feel like, oh, that idea is great. Wouldn't it be great? But it's not 100%. I encourage you to check back because I've seen this happen with tools that right when they launch, because I think you and I are kind of early on the game. So we'll come across tools very, very early, may not always live up to the promise, but then I'll go back a couple of months later and I'll have seen this vast improvement. So I encourage people to keep in mind where we're at right now in this journey. Even if something isn't doing what you think it will, circle back, give them a chance. It's almost a different world and a different mindset. I think when things were more mature, in the kind of SaaS space, and if you had a demo and it didn't work, you're like, I'm not coming back. Forget. I think right now you need to give a little bit of slack because it is possible if that company sees growth, they are going to continue to really evolve and bring you an amazing solution. So you got to kind of have that experimenter mindset on and play around with your tools. I mean, I come from like an executive role where it'd be really easy at this stage in my career to say, I'm not getting my hands dirty in anything. I'm done. I've earned it. I don't have to do that. And I've taken the absolute opposite approach. I'm like, I'm going to get in there, sign up for my free trial and try it out because it's a completely different ball game as far as I'm concerned. All right. So the final question of the Your AI CMO 9, what's one practical thing a founder or marketer listening right now should do this week to grow with AI?
Pallavi, you set the stage perfect for this. I think you should try a new tool. Set aside 15 minutes, no matter what level you are, no matter how many tools you know, whether it's 0 or you already know 50 different AI tools, take 15 minutes this week, preferably today, and try out a new tool. It doesn't take that long, and it's fun. I love going in, trying these new tools, seeing where I can break them, where can I confuse them, where can I make a product suggestion. I don't know. I'm like going through all of these different tools and trying them out. And I'm like, okay, this is how it applies to my workflow. Or, oh, this tool's not right for me. And I'm also telling everyone that I talk to, like, hey, I would like it if it did this. I would like it if it did that. I'm leaving product recommendations left and right. You don't
Yeah.
have to do that part, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And then you see some of these tools take your suggestions, and you're like, wow, I helped change the trajectory of this
Yeah.
company. Like, it's
Yeah.
cool.
It
It's
is very cool.
early, it's fast. Come play with us. Go check it out.
Yeah. And a lot of these founders will respond if you leave them a note on, especially LinkedIn is where, because it's business, I'm seeing a lot of this happen. They personally do respond, and you can tell it's them. It's not somebody managing their social media account. They care. So it's a really kind of, again, a very cool and invigorating space to be in. So that, I think is a really great way to end this show with one action plan to implement today. Go find a tool, test it out, try it. And hopefully you'll never look back and you'll really get started with this journey on AI. The other thing I would leave founders with, you really want to make sure you're not trying to do it all yourself. I think people like you and I are, we make it our point to stay abreast of all of the rapid changes happening on AI, because it's even for us, it's hard to keep up with. The changes are so drastically quick that if you're trying to run a business and then thinking you're going to now become the AI expert in-house, that's going to be tough. You have a business to run. So I highly encourage you to find experts such as Jenny, myself, or whoever it may be, who are immersing themselves in these changes, so you can really benefit from AI versus, again, like just trying to figure it out in-house or slowly push it to people in-house who may not have the ability or interest to really learn and adopt and implement AI. It's kind of a different beast. I think that's a big mistake that I can see some folks saying, is that it's basically, well, we've just been working with the same team and now we're going to just layer in AI. And then they sit back and go, why is it not working? So Jenny, tell the audience, please, where can they find you online?
Yeah, all the places. I am on LinkedIn a lot, so come hang out with us there and be sure to follow not just me, but also Women X AI. And then if you have any questions, you can always reach out old school via email.
Nice. Well, thank you again. And I really appreciate the listeners spending some time with us. I look forward, Jenny, to continuing on this journey with you. And please, listeners, make sure you subscribe and follow, interact with us on LinkedIn, because we definitely respond back. And you can visit me at Wit Omni, for Wit Omni AI Marketing, and I'm happy to connect with you as well if you are looking to grow your business and need some help there. So we really look forward to seeing you back here, where I'm going to have some really cool leaders coming to talk about helping you grow your business using AI. Until then, have a good one.